Can coaches and therapists um, really can therapists actually charge ethically? And today we're going to talk about a topic that many therapists can relate to. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about ethics, and this live stream. It's not going to talk. It's not going to be a contrast between coaches versus therapists. This live stream is rather for coaches or rather for therapists who would like to build successful, joyous practices. And I would like to share my side of the story because I ran private practice in Moscow, Russia in the past, and I run coaching practice as well. And there's also a vocation money story that is a very important for us to be cognizant about when it comes to money. So, and as you are joining me, say hello in the chat. Tell me where you're watching me from. I would like to see who is here. And also, if you know my live streams, it's not a lecture; it's a conversation. And it's a conversation. I see Esther on Instagram. Hello, Esther. And if you're joining me, like wherever you joining me from, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Tell me where you're watching me from. Hello, watching from the UK. Esther and I, we had an amazing podcast together where we talk about neurodivergence and business and entrepreneurship. And it's on Heart and Profit podcast. Absolutely amazing. And it's also on her podcast that she is running. She's an amazing human. So like definitely check her podcast out. So, um, here's why I'm doing this live stream. There are therapists who are building amazing practices. There are coaches who are building amazing practices. And until I got into entrepreneurship the second time, from like and started my coaching business way back, in Moscow, Russia, when I started my teeny tiny private practice, because like I don't know if you can resonate as a therapist. I don't know if you can resonate, but when you graduate, normally nobody teaches you about how to run a business, right? I was under assumption that like you kind of do whatever you got to do, like you run private practice, you work at local mental health centers, you do whatever you got to do like to be a psychologist, be a therapist, and my degree is in clinical psychology. It's actually a very unique specialty. It is in Russia. It's called special psychology. It's a combination of special education, um, clinical psychology, and applied neurology, specifically when it comes to neurodivergence, memory issues, speech pathology, things like that. But also like kind of leaning towards special education. So, and when it comes to therapy practice, there's also vocation money story. I don't know if you can resonate, but for me personally, there was vocation money story because there is a stigma, there is an understanding that we get into therapy to help people. We get into therapy to help people, not to build wealth, not to be wealthy, not to build businesses, but actually help people. And when I went to school, like many years ago, people would tell me like, why are you going to be like to school to be a psychologist, to be a therapist? You're not going to make any money. You're helping people, and that job is not making really good money. And I made a promise to myself that I would actually do my career, my vocation, like until I literally can pay my bills anymore. And that was such a detrimental vocation money story for me personally, because I couldn't see the potential, the difference that I could bring to the world. And when I started my coaching business, my eyes opened. My eyes opened. Not because of like the marketing. Of course, the marketing in like 2020 was absolutely crazy. From 2020 to 2024 was absolutely crazy. And I didn't catch the very first wave of like 2020, uh, coaching wave. But when I started hanging out with other entrepreneurs, with other business owners, not just coaches, I saw other therapists who are running successful and joyous businesses. I saw other people who are building amazing practices that they actually and that they actually enjoy, and they're creating so much difference. I saw what is available. I saw how people diversify their income, and at that point, I at that point, something shifted in me. Something shifted in me in a way that I realized I kind of started having career regrets, because at some point, because my vision was so limiting to like what is available for me as a therapist, right? Like, especially when you move to another country, and like this is another layer, right? Like, to be a therapist is very expensive. Like, if you're not a therapist and you're watching this live stream and you're curious what the process is, like it is very expensive. And for me personally, I just moved, well, 12 years ago. 12 years ago, I moved from Moscow, Russia. I started working in public sector. I was working with the most vulnerable population. I haven't really had a lot of contacts with like private practice practitioners. And I started like doing the math, what is on the other side. And we like, listen, therapists, they have to spend a lot of money on licensing, on education, on exam. It is not cheap. And to be honest, like the public sector does not compensate therapists very well, as as they should compensate it, in my opinion. And at that point, I was like thinking, like, what is the return on investment? Because I just paid off my education fee for my degree that I got from Russia. And I I couldn't see the like at a time I couldn't see quite the return on investment. And what I wish I saw back then, as somebody who would like, just like this, on social media, on YouTube, on podcasts, say, hey, you know what is actually available for a therapist? Like, you can run a private practice. You can diversify your income. You can create a beautiful business. You can do one-on-one services. You don't have to depend on insurance only. You can do private pay. You can combine private pay and insurance. You can create creative solutions, such as you can add coaching components. And I know one clinical psychologist that I absolutely love and adore. She's a specialist in working with children with autism. And what she does, she works as a provider, as a clinical psychologist with kids with autism. And she has a program for parents, because it is not just a child, it is a child and a parent. And she created absolutely wonderful business in I again, like, don't quote me on that, but the last time I saw like from her, like messages from her on social media, she was hiring other clinical psychologists to help her in her practice. And it is such a wonderful, beautiful practice, y'all. And it's such a beautiful practice. And the only message with this live stream for you all today, that it is available. It is available. And one important differentiator that I will be uncovering later, and it's for therapists, it's for coaches, it's for service based entrepreneurs. I don't know about you, but for me, it is important to build business from self leadership. And back then, when I just moved from Moscow to Chicago, Illinois, I the one component that was missing and one component that I'm absolutely paying attention now is self leadership. Self leadership, it is from the framework internal family systems. It's a psychotherapy framework, but it's also a philosophy. For me, it's not, it goes beyond therapy. It is the whole philosophy. And this is what I'm being implementing for myself, implementing for my clients. And it's the energy of self. And it's when you release and embody the energy of self, and the energy of self is calm, creativity, courage, compassion, calm, all eight categories, the energy of self. And when you are in energy of self, when you are calm and creative and collected and courageous and 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 compassionate and kind, and you are leading from this place, then you start creating creative business solutions. Because if you check with yourself, if you ever purchase something from somebody else, what really personally resonates with me is when I go to a live stream, when I go to a conference, when I go to a room, and I understand that person doesn't really need anything from me. It's not about it's not about convincing, it's about leading from self energy. And when you're leading from self energy, when you're self led, you create self led business. And when you're creating self led business, what do I mean by that? Self led business is when you're no longer operator, because you can have a business, you can have an LLC, you can have a private practice, and with the private practice, you can be an operator, you can be self employed. Nothing is wrong with being self-employed. You can be self-employed if it is your mission, if it fills your cup, if you like it, if you say, you know what, like I don't want to build a business. I don't want to own a business. I just want to make money for myself, collect the check and bounce. And that is absolutely a-okay. But when you start a business, um, we talk about wealth creation, and wealth creation is not just the money, and wealth creation is value creation. And when you create something where other people, like other individuals, that people can benefit from. And when you start building a business that can lead itself, when you start creating and hiring people that can lead themselves from self leadership, because here's the thing, here's the thing, the more self energy you embody in yourself, the more self aligned and self led people you will attract, because self attracts self. And when you're acting from, like, again, IFS, internal family system terminology, when you acting from reactive parts or protective parts, you're communicating to other people on that level, on that frequency of reactive parts, of protective parts. And this is why we have, by the way, if you ever been in corporate, like corporate organization, and it's the same internal family system. You have like either the organization is self-led, or it is toxic. In any organization, you can see the exiles, the team members who are weaker or who are more wounded. You can see the protectors, you can see the managers, you can see the reactive coworkers. Like that is all exists. And that goes from the mind system to the organization system. Like, let me know if that resonates with you. Let me know if you've seen that in organization. And I know I have seen that. I have seen that in mental health organizations. That I've seen it in tech organization. And like when you are building the business, and this is something that I will be uncovering more a lot more in future podcast episodes and live streams. When you are building from the energy of self leadership, you're creating self-led organization. And when you create in self-led organization, guess what? You have more freedom and time and energy to create difference in the world. Then you like it, as a therapist, I know I'm passionate about serving vulnerable populations like that. Again, like I came from the background when I was serving people with disabilities. Like majority of my clients, my first clientele were deaf clients. I'm fluent in Russian Sign Language. I'm fluent in American Sign Language. And if we talk about the need for therapists and we talk about the need for mental health providers, therapists who are fluent in sign language, it's very rare, y'all. It's very, very rare. And this is, again, this is kind of topical on specialty. And back then, like, I did not have to have like advertisement. I didn't even have to have social media because in my local community, everybody knew me that like this is Eugene. He is a psychologist. His brother is deaf, and he is fluent in sign language. And I was already working as a sign language interpreter, and that lended me like wonderful opportunities. And again, like this is not necessarily the direct way to build wealth, but what I can do, like I can create like a coaching practice, for example, and I can create so much energy, so much wealth with my coaching practice, with my hypnotherapy practice when I'm serving private clients for private pay who would like to have that transformation. I can create freedom to serve other people. I can create freedom to support organizations. I can create freedom to hire other therapists in my practice and pay them well, because this is another value of mine. Therapists deserve to be paid well. Therapists deserve to be paid well, because like another point that is very disappointing for me is that in public sector, and it's not just in the US, in the UK, and Esther, tell me if you see the same in the UK. Therapists are not being well compensated in Russia, in the United States, when it comes to 9 to 5 employment. For us to, in order to like survive, in order to pay our bills, we have to be entrepreneurs. And I know that entrepreneurship and therapy are two different things. It's not the same thing. It's not the same skill set. But what is important for me, like why I'm speaking directly to people who are doing healing work, who are doing therapy work, because because that was me, and because like I know nobody teaches us in grad school how to run business, how to create a business plan, how to market, what is the messaging, like what is the target audience, and also for therapists, like a lot of therapists being tripped up, like what to market and how to market and what to say. For me personally, when I was even thinking, like remotely thinking about marketing, I'm like, well, I can't really promise anything, you know, like coaches do. And listen, I want to also point out this, that if coaches, and again, I don't think that coaches are the enemies of licensed therapists. I do not think that, because coaches and therapists are doing like two different things, or at least they should do two different things. These are two different distinct professions and distinct lines of expertise. Um, if coaches can charge premium prices, if Mel Robbins can sell books, run podcasts, talk about mental health just like that, and make millions, literally millions, so can therapists. And this is the hill that I will die on. And it's absolutely ethical and it's absolutely available to you. And it's absolutely essential. And in the future weeks, I will be covering more. So if you're new to my work, and I know like for many years, yeah, I was working with the wide range of entrepreneurs, consultants, um, um, coaches in a way, tech experts. I was working with a lot of experts. Like one of my clients was a tech expert, and he created his consulting business, then and a coaching component. Another my client was a consultant, specifically um, the um, the branding consultant for black-owned businesses, and she helped them to get into the stores. And it was like she was running wonderful consulting business. And why therapists? Why it is so important? Because if other people can create wealth, so can we. If Mel Robbins can make millions, not being an expert in human psychology, by the way, not being mental health professional, talking about mental health, people need your voice. People need your voice. People need your voice online. People need your influence on social media. People need sound voices of reason, because a lot of influencers in mental health adjacent fields, they're not trained for that. They don't have the expertise and education for that, but you absolutely do. And this is why it is so personal for me. And my call to action today for you, first of all, if we're not connected, connect with me on social media, connect with me on Instagram, connect with me on LinkedIn, and send me a message. Share with me your story. This is the only call to action that I have for you tonight, because I would like to hear your story. Because again, this is extra personal for me, because I wanna see other therapists in line with Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Oprah, you name it, talking about mental health, talking about human potential. And as far as I know, and this online coaching influence business, I know one licensed mental health professional who is running her coaching business. And listen, there's nothing wrong with coaching business. You can absolutely run coaching business. And her methodology is actually rooted in science and understanding of human psychology, how brain and how human mind works. And I want to see more of that. And yes, entrepreneurship is not easy. Entrepreneurship is not a rosy road. And I'm not going to like just sit here and promise you millions of dollars like overnight, because let's be honest, this is not realistic. But like what is realistic is creating your legacy. What is realistic is like first unblocking your self energy and your self leadership. That is absolutely realistic. Creating self-led business. This is absolutely realistic. Creating wealth, and wealth is not money. Wealth is the value. And people in the world right now, in a state that it is right now, people and the world is craving your value, is craving your wealth, is craving your influence. And we need more voices of reason in social on social media who will provide like actually clinically sound information and provide spaces where people can heal, when people can access like good information, and especially with ChatGPT and AI technology being so rampant and being developed so fast, like we need you. Like that's my only message. So I have a question for you. What resonates with you? Share with me in the comments, share with me in the chat. I would like to hear from you. And also, if you're watching this on replay, please reply in the comments. I read every single comment. I reply to every single comment. So let me know what resonates with you. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you have any questions. I will be hanging out here for a little bit longer to answer your questions and to read your comments, because I don't take your attention for granted. I absolutely don't take your attention for granted. And on the personal news, like I'm notoriously bad at like creating my own systems. And I finally finished my website. So I finished my website. Like I'm super proud of it. So this is on my Instagram. So I need to update my LinkedIn too. So like go to my Instagram, check out my website. Let me know what you think. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining my live stream today. And if you're watching on the replay, let me know that you're watching on the replay. I absolutely love you, and I would like to hear from you. Thank you so much, and I will see you later. I will see you in my next video.